In the early hours of May 29th, 1453, in the dense darkness, the Ottoman forces began their assault on Constantinople. The thunderous sounds of cannons and the marching footsteps of soldiers shook the city that had once been the heart of the Byzantine Empire. As dawn broke, the fortifications, which had been considered impregnable for centuries, started to crumble, marking the end of a magnificent era. Constantinople, a city that for thousands of years had been a symbol of the glory and power of the Roman Empire, now faced a greater threat than ever before. The Ottoman army, led by Mehmed II, with burning determination and advanced warfare technology, stood before the gates of the city with the resolve to conquer it. The city's inhabitants, with heavy hearts but full of hope, braced themselves for the inevitable fate. Behind the gradually weakening walls, the story of the fall of Constantinople is not just about a military defeat, but also about a shift in times, the changing balance of power, and the fate of an empire that once ruled the world. How could such a powerful city eventually fall? What factors contributed to this tragic destiny? Let us explore together, retracing the steps of history that led us to this moment. Sit comfortably, friends, and allow us to take you into the epic tale of the fall of Constantinople, a story filled with intrigue, courage, and valuable lessons from the past. Let us start with the basics. In April 1453, as Mehmed II's army approached the walls of Constantinople, its defenders were determined to save the city. It's no wonder, since the capital of Rome was moved here in 330 AD, Constantinople had been besieged 24 times, and only 3 of those sieges had succeeded. One of them succeeded only because the Romans themselves had stormed the city. More on that later. For now, it is important to realize that blockades and attempts to capture Constantinople were commonplace for its residents. In 1453, 100,000 Turks stood before a few thousand defenders. Constantinople was protected by the sea and fortified with walls that were considered impregnable. Before the Ottomans, the Persians, Arabs, Bulgarians, Vikings, and even ancient Russians had tried to seize the city. They all returned in defeat, but Constantinople stood firm. What went wrong in 1453? There are 2 groups of factors that led to the fall of Constantinople. First, the often overlooked contributions of Mehmed II. Mehmed, who was rare for his time, used a technical approach. At the age of 20 during the campaign, Mehmed had a passion for technology and paid great attention to artillery. He established a large foundry where the best craftsmen in Europe created siege weapons, the pinnacle of which was the basilica cannon that fired half-ton projectiles up to 2 kilometers. Despite its low accuracy and the 3 hours it took to load, sieges in those days lasted for months, and the city's walls were so large that you could hit anything you aimed at. This cannon had a significant psychological impact, doubling the efforts of lesser cannons and affecting the defenders. The second group of factors that led to the fall of Constantinople were external factors. England and France were embroiled in the 100 Years' War. The Holy Roman Empire was in a state of civil war. Spain was fighting Muslims on another front, and the Pope no longer had the influence to command the faithful on a holy march, except for Hungary, which supported it. However, in 1444, the Crusade of Varna was a total failure. Sultan Murat decisively defeated the Polish-Hungarian army, and since that battle, Hungary never recovered. What remained were the efforts of Venice and the Knights of Rhodes, but they were not strong enough to counter the Ottoman power. The merchants' motives were also not pure. Genoa and Venice, which were close to Constantinople, had long negotiated with the Ottomans, and their officials warned the public with statements that the fall of Constantinople would calm the situation and facilitate trade. In general, in 1453, the fall of Constantinople seemed logical and could have been avoided if not for Mehmed II's artillery genius and a bit more help from allies. In 1453, the Roman Empire essentially consisted of Constantinople and a few villages in Bulgaria, which were not significant enough for a state as vast as Rome. Clearly, in that year, the final nail in the coffin of the empire was hammered. The reasons for its collapse lay hidden long before, dating back to the time of Justinian. In the 6th century AD, the Roman Empire regained vast territories, including Rome itself, which was rebuilt and revitalized. Constantinople constructed the Church of St. Sophia, and during Justinian's reign, no one would have thought to call this state Byzantium. The Roman Empire firmly restored territories such as Syria from Persia, Egypt from the Mesopotamians, and even Jerusalem before the Arab conquests. However, in the 7th and 9th centuries, the Roman Empire lost many territories. The Dark Ages were followed by the rise of the Macedonian dynasty, which ruled from 867 to 1056. During that time, Arab territories were gradually reclaimed, and the Slavic question was resolved. The militant Rus accepted orthodoxy, and Bulgaria joined the empire, allowing the Roman Empire to regain its political weight and influence. The real problems began during the Crusades, when Christians decided to actively fight Muslims, but ended up dividing themselves. In 1054, Constantinople severed church relations with Rome, an event that at the time was not considered significant, but later led many great figures to prefer Muslims over the infidel Catholics. The Roman Empire at this time was at the crossroads of Catholic and Muslim military interests. Alexius I wisely made alliances with the Crusaders and manipulated the interests of the church, state, and citizens, resulting in the Crusaders' defeat by godless hordes. The temporary political alliances of Alexius and other emperors with Muslims showed that the rulers of the Comnenian dynasty were balancing on the edge of a knife. In the 11th and 12th centuries, there was even talk of uniting with the West into one state, disrupted by less skilled rulers. The scholarly consensus is that the angelic rulers in power in 1185 played a significant role in paving the way for Rome's irreversible fall. At the crossroads of the world, this downfall was the result of a series of events spanning centuries. This dynasty tried to please almost everyone. Local landowners were given tax privileges and exemptions from military levies, while Italian trading republics gained trade route privileges at the crossroads of the Roman Empire in exchange for military and naval assistance. However, Constantinople had lost its military strength due to populist reforms. There was no tension in society, but people blamed their poverty on the Italians, who had taken all the trade from the Roman Empire. The landowners refused to fund the troops, citing previous authorizations and constant crusades and conflicts that never ended. Tensions culminated in the massacre of Constantinople in 1182, when out of 60,000 Europeans in the city, none were left. Some fled from the bloodthirsty Greeks, while 4,000 Genoese, Pisans, and Venetians were sold as slaves to the Turks, and most of the rest were massacred. This event is recorded in history as the Massacre of the Latins and one of the largest massacres by Greeks against European inhabitants. This news was not received well in Europe, and the fact that the Fourth Crusade took Constantinople instead of the Middle East was not so surprising. The Crusaders took the capital of Rome in 1204 due to tensions between East and West, the Church, and Venice's commercial interests in eliminating rivals. In 1204, the Roman Empire fell, and a Latin empire was established with Constantinople as its capital, replacing the Nicene and Trebizond empires, which lasted longer. In 1261, Nicaea managed to defeat its rivals and reclaim Constantinople, but in the process, Michael VIII Palaiologos brought Venice and the Italian merchants back into power. This restored Roman Empire was only a shadow of its former glory, with little control and internal conflicts among the Greeks. Constantinople eventually became an irrelevant player on the power stage, and the Ottomans emerged as the dominant force. The Ottoman Turks did not establish their state until 1299, yet their confrontations with Byzantium are often depicted as epic. In reality, the Ottomans faced a pale shadow of Constantinople, torn by contradictions and slowly consuming the Roman Empire. The main reason for Rome's downfall was geography. In the 4th century, Constantine's idea to create a new Rome at the crossroads of Europe and Asia seemed great for controlling everything here. However, by the end of the Middle Ages, with advancements in religion, technology, and the military, that idea became problematic. The Roman Empire found itself at the crossroads of religious, governmental, and ideological conflicts, while barbarians remained a threat. Some rulers managed to navigate this situation, but physically the empire could not endure much longer, especially in an environment that despised it in Europe, Asia, and Africa. In conclusion, history provides us with valuable lessons on how great powers can collapse due to a combination of internal and external factors. The fall of Constantinople was not just the end of an era, but also a mirror for us to understand the importance of unity, strategy, and adaptation in facing the changes of the times. By studying the past, we can avoid the same mistakes and build a better and stronger future. Thank you for watching and delving into this epic story with us. If you enjoyed this content, we invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comments. What did you find most interesting about this story? Are there other historical aspects you would like to know more about? Your support means a lot to us as we continue to present informative and inspiring historical content. By subscribing, you won't miss out on future exciting episodes filled with insights and incredible stories from the past. We are committed to always providing quality content that is not only entertaining, but also educational. See you in the next episode, friends. Stay with us for more amazing historical adventures. Thank you for your support. Together, let's continue to learn and be inspired by the rich and profound stories of history.